Hello everyone, Marcia Melendez Realtor, bringing you valuable content about the real estate market and business. Today I want to talk to you about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the real estate market that I see coming up in 2021. While I won't belabor the point that 2020 was one of the most horrific years that we have ever seen, it does have a direct impact on what we will see going through this year. Just remember to give me a thumbs up if you like this video and subscribe to my channel so that I can continue to bring you more valuable content. First, I have to say my heartfelt sympathy goes out to anyone who lost a loved one during 2020's pandemic. One thing the pandemic did teach us was how important our families and yes, our homes were as we were locked down for months at a time. If we were lucky enough to be locked down and not have to work, that is. So what happened good in the real estate market of 2020 that will continue into this year? First thing, home sales. You know, the year started off as a regular year. It's kind of slow for the beginning of the year. Then it came to a complete halt in March, April. And then we saw the end of the year, the last quarter, where sales just took off like a rocket. The real estate market was one of the things that really contributed to the overall economic growth in 2020. And I feel it's going to continue that way now. Fast pace of sales were fueled by people who were forced to look for new places to shelter down. They discovered that working from home in their tiny apartments was not going to work, so they had to move. A lot of people also took the opportunity to move from certain metro areas because they no longer needed to be in close proximity to their home and live close by in areas that were a lot cheaper. In New York City, we saw this happening where a lot of people moved from expensive Manhattan apartments and condos into whole houses in Brooklyn and Queens, which was much better for them and their families to shelter in. This proved to be absolutely fantastic for home sellers. Last year, the net worth of homeowners increased significantly as their home values skyrocketed. The buying frenzy was absolutely crazy. Homes came on the market and were sold in a matter of days. Some of them by virtual means too, which is really amazing when you think about it. For 2021, this trend will continue. There's a record low housing inventory across the country, resulting in higher prices, many more competitive offers, and shorter days on market. So be aware if you're looking for a home, what to expect. The bad thing about the market is that the same factors that produced a fabulous year for homeowners in 2020 proved to be so challenging for home buyers. My heart broke with the number of offers that some of my clients put in and were rejected because they were beat out by higher prices. Unfortunately, this is going to continue into the 2021 season, so be aware. I would suggest that families looking for homes in 2021 do not linger when they find something that they like. You know, I had homeowners that have been looking, as I said, for 2 years. And I can tell you right now that those homes that they rejected up to a year or two ago are now worth conservatively $50,000 to $100,000 more than they did at the time when they said no. Listen, this applies especially to first-time home buyers. Your first home is not going to be perfect, especially if you're living in the city, you know, where inventory is low to begin with. Stop trying to find the perfect home, please. Please, you're just doing your finances a disservice. An interesting statistic from Zillow backs up my assertion that it's better to just buy something now that you like and that you can afford, of course, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It's your first home. You can always stay in it for a couple of years. Meanwhile, the equity growth in your home will allow you to buy something that you really, really, really think is your dream home a couple of years down the line. I have a graph here that shows you. Now, the study that Zillow completed showed that out of all the homes sold, only 8% of people regretted buying their homes. And those were due to the fact that They underestimated the amount of maintenance that they would have to do personally, and also that they thought it restricted them to one area. But other than that, the majority of people that buy a home, they like it, they live in it, and when their money can afford to upgrade, they sell it with more money normally, and they move on into another house. So please stop looking for that perfect home. Another thing we should try to do is stop trying to time the housing market. I know a lot of people, these pundits on social media, that seem to just maintain their huge followings by just talking about how bad things are and how bad things are going to be in the future. Listen, there are people now that have challenges with their mortgages and their home bills. We're not going to deny that. But when it comes to purchasing a home, if you have decent credit, if you can get pre-approved, and you can maintain the maintenance, do it. Over time, the prices of homes only go up. So stop trying to time the market. You know, they always say that in the stock market. Well, it's the same thing in the homeowners market also. I have a graph here that shows you that year over year, even though there may be some dips in the prices, the trajectory of prices just keeps going up. So please stop trying to find the best time to purchase your home and jump into the market now while you still can. The ugly for 2021 has got to be inflation and, yes, foreclosures, but not necessarily in that order. Again, we have our doom and gloom pundits saying that the sky is falling in, home market prices are going to crash, and everybody's going to be left with homes that are worth nothing. Don't believe them. It's not true. While we cannot deny that many of us may continue to have financial difficulties in the year to come, let's put it in place. We are not going to see those huge rash of foreclosures that we saw back in 2008 when, mortgage requirements then were a lot less stringent than they are now. Since then, it's been harder to get a mortgage. So believe me, people that do have homes will be able to maintain them. Also, the CARES Act put in by the federal government has made it a lot easier for people that are having problems with their mortgage to work out plans with their mortgage company. So we should stop thinking that the sky is going to fall in and there's going to be a massive rash of foreclosures, even though I have to tell you that there are a lot of investors that are praying that there will be. Never mind all the families that are going to suffer if their home does get foreclosed. Even if we do have homes on foreclosure, they're not going to drop anywhere near the record low that we saw back in 2008. I am far from being an economist, and I never even really liked the subject until I had my own business. But I was reading in Bigger Pockets, which is a great blog that you can follow real estate information. They have some really good articles. One writer commented that in 2021, the government will effectively ensure landlord rents with unemployment and rental relief assistance. And they're also going to continue to force interest rates lower, and this will be setting up our country for inflation in the long run. The takeaway of the government's current set of policies are likely to create a world in which low interest rates may be here to stay for a while, and in which rents are being subsidized by society and will ultimately add to the public debt, which will be paid for by inflation. As we know, all the spending has to be paid back somehow. But, considering that homeowners have so much equity built up in their homes, I don't think it's not going to bother us that much. As long as you have a stable job, most of us are going to be in a decent position for when that inflation happens. So my ultimate recommendation for 2021 would be conservative with your savings, definitely, in case hard times come. If you're a home buyer and you're pre-qualified, stop waiting for those super, super low prices on houses. They're gone. I don't think they're coming back. Buy what you can afford as long as you have a stable job and can maintain that property. Good luck to everyone.